Good evening, I'm Anderson Cooper, and here are today's top headlines. From a controversial legal case in Dubai, to escalating violence in Syria, and a heartbreaking murder trial in the UK, tonight's news takes us across the globe. We'll unpack these stories, examine their complexities, and explore the human impact at their core. Join me as we delve into these developing situations and try to make sense of a tumultuous world. Our first story takes us to Dubai, where an 18-year-old Briton, Marcus Fakana, has been sentenced to a year in prison for having a consensual sexual relationship with his 17-year-old British girlfriend. The couple, both on holiday in Dubai, were reported to authorities by the girl's mother. Now, the legal age of consent in Dubai is 18, which puts this case in a legal gray area, particularly as both individuals are above the age of consent in their home country. Fakana's legal team argues that the sentence is unreasonable, especially considering the couple's relationship and the differing legal standards between Dubai and the UK. The case has sparked outrage and ignited a debate about cultural sensitivity and legal inconsistencies in a globalized world. Human rights groups have criticized the ruling, highlighting the potential for abuse when laws differ so drastically across borders. This case raises serious questions about individual rights, legal jurisdiction, and the complexities of navigating cultural differences in an increasingly interconnected world. Fakana plans to appeal the sentence, and we will continue to follow this developing story. Dubai, known for its luxurious lifestyle and towering skyscrapers, is also a place where traditional values and modernity often clash. The city's legal system is based on a combination of Sharia law and civil law, which can sometimes lead to unexpected legal outcomes for foreigners. In this case, the application of local laws to foreign nationals has brought to light the challenges faced by expatriates and tourists in understanding and adhering to Dubai's legal framework. Marcus Fakana's family has expressed their shock and dismay at the harsh sentence, emphasizing that the relationship was consensual and that both parties were unaware of the legal implications. The case has garnered international attention, with media outlets and social media users weighing in on the fairness of the ruling and the broader implications for international travelers. Legal experts have pointed out that while ignorance of the law is not a defense, there is a need for greater awareness and education about the legal systems in countries that attract large numbers of tourists. This incident underscores the importance of cultural exchange and understanding, as well as the need for clear communication about legal expectations and norms. Diplomatic efforts are underway to address the situation, with the British government reportedly in talks with Dubai authorities to seek a resolution that respects both legal systems. As Marcus Fakana's legal team prepares for the appeal, the case continues to highlight the delicate balance between respecting local laws and protecting the rights of individuals in a globalized world. This story serves as a reminder to all travelers to be aware of the legal landscapes of the countries they visit, and to approach cultural differences with sensitivity and respect. We will continue to monitor this case and provide updates as new developments unfold. Stay tuned for more on this and other important stories from around the world. Turning our attention now to the ongoing conflict in Syria, where rebel forces have escalated their attacks against the Assad regime. The conflict, which has been raging for over a decade, has seen numerous twists and turns, with both sides suffering heavy casualties and the civilian population bearing the brunt of the violence. The international community has watched with bated breath as the situation continues to evolve, with various factions vying for control and influence in the war-torn nation. In a shocking display of defiance, rebels set fire to the tomb of Hafez al-Assad, the former president and father of Bashar al-Assad in Latakia province. This act of arson is not just a random act of vandalism, but a calculated move to send a powerful message to the Assad regime. The tomb, which has stood as a symbol of the Assad family's enduring legacy, is now a charred reminder of the deep-seated animosity that many Syrians feel towards the ruling family. This act, rich in symbolism, underscores the deep-seated anger and resentment towards the Assad family and their decades-long rule. For many Syrians, the Assad dynasty represents years of oppression, corruption, and brutality. The burning of Hafez al-Assad's tomb is a stark illustration of the rebels' determination to not only overthrow Bashar al-Assad, but to erase the legacy of his father as well. It is a clear statement that the rebels are not just fighting for control of the country, but for a complete break from the past. The desecration of the tomb is a significant escalation in the conflict, demonstrating the rebels' determination to dismantle not just the current regime, but also the legacy of the Assad dynasty. This act of defiance is likely to provoke a strong response from the Assad regime, which has already vowed to crush the rebellion with an iron fist. The coming days and weeks will be crucial in determining the future of Syria, as both sides prepare for what could be a decisive showdown. Meanwhile, in other parts of Syria, a semblance of normalcy is returning. Despite the ongoing conflict, many Syrians are trying to rebuild their lives and communities. In towns and cities that have been relatively untouched by the fighting, people are going about their daily routines, trying to maintain a sense of normalcy amidst the chaos. Schools are reopening, markets are bustling, and families are gathering to celebrate weddings and other milestones. Damascus, the nation's capital, is slowly coming back to life as shops reopen and residents attempt to resume their daily routines. The city's streets, once deserted and filled with the sounds of gunfire and explosions, are now bustling with activity. Cafes and restaurants are reopening and the sounds of laughter and conversation can be heard once again. However, the scars of the conflict are still visible, with many buildings bearing the marks of shelling and gunfire. This fragile peace, however, is overshadowed by the ongoing violence and uncertainty that continues to grip the nation. While some areas are experiencing a return to normalcy, others are still engulfed in conflict. The future of Syria remains uncertain, with many fearing that the worst is yet to come. The international community continues to call for a peaceful resolution to the conflict, but for now, the fate of the nation hangs in the balance. Chapter 3: Russia's Refusal and Assad's Next Move. In a surprising turn of events, reports from the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights suggest that Russia, a long-standing ally of Bashar al-Assad, refused his request to establish a coastal statelet in Syria. This request, widely seen as an attempt to divide the war-torn country, was apparently rejected by Moscow, signaling a potential shift in their stance on the Syrian conflict. Assad, who has reportedly fled to Russia, has yet to make a public statement about stepping down from power. His silence only fuels the uncertainty surrounding Syria's future, and raises questions about Russia's long-term strategy in the region. The international community continues to grapple with the Syrian crisis, searching for a peaceful resolution to a conflict that has claimed countless lives and displaced millions. Chapter 4: Justice for Sara Sharif guilty verdict in UK murder trial. Finally tonight we turn to a heartbreaking story out of the UK, where a father and stepmother have been found guilty of murdering 10-year-old Sara Sharif. This case has not only captured the attention of the British public but has also resonated globally, highlighting the urgent need for better protective measures for vulnerable children. The case, which has gripped the nation, has exposed the tragic consequences of domestic abuse and the failures of child protection services. Sara's story is a stark reminder of the gaps in the system that are supposed to safeguard children. The public outcry has led to renewed calls for reforms in child welfare policies and more stringent measures to prevent such tragedies in the future. Sara's lifeless body was discovered in her Woking home on August 8, bearing the horrific marks of dozens of injuries. The details of her suffering have been difficult for many to hear, but they are crucial in understanding the severity of the abuse she endured. The community in Woking has been particularly affected, with many residents expressing their grief and anger over the loss of such a young life. The young girl's death sent shockwaves through the community and sparked outrage across the country. Vigils have been held, and flowers and messages of condolence have been left outside her home. The media coverage has been extensive, with headlines dominating the news for weeks. People from all walks of life have come together to demand justice for Sara and to ensure that no other child suffers a similar fate. Irfan Sharif, Sara's father, and his partner Baynash Batul fled the UK for Pakistan shortly after Sara's death, triggering an international manhunt. Their flight from justice added another layer of complexity to the case, involving multiple law enforcement agencies across different countries. The international community watched closely as efforts to bring them back to the UK unfolded. Their attempts to evade justice only compounded the tragedy and intensified calls for accountability. Protests erupted, demanding that the perpetrators be brought to justice swiftly. The UK police held press conferences to update the public on the progress of the manhunt, and the media played a crucial role in keeping the story in the spotlight. While Sara's uncle, Faisal Malik, was cleared of murder charges, he was found guilty of causing or allowing the death of a child. His involvement in the case has been a point of contention, with many questioning how much he knew and whether he could have done more to protect Sara. The courtroom sketches and photos from the trial have been widely circulated, adding to the public's understanding of the legal proceedings. This verdict brings some measure of closure to a case that has shaken the UK to its core. The community's response has been one of solidarity and support for Sara's remaining family members. News reporters have been covering every development, ensuring that the public remains informed and engaged. The community vigils have served as a poignant reminder of the collective grief and the desire for justice. The sentencing for Sara Sharif, Bashar Batul and Faisal Malik is scheduled for Tuesday, and we will continue to follow this story as it develops. The upcoming sentencing is expected to be a significant moment, not just for Sara's family, but for everyone who has been following the case. It will be a time for reflection on the failures that led to this tragedy, and a call to action to prevent future occurrences. Stay tuned as we bring you the latest updates on this heartbreaking yet crucial story. Outro: stay informed, stay engaged. That's all for now. Stay tuned for more updates on these stories and other breaking news. From the courtroom in Dubai to the battlefields of Syria and the quest for justice in the UK, we've covered a lot of ground tonight. The world can feel like a chaotic and often heartbreaking place, but it's important to stay informed, stay engaged, and never lose sight of our shared humanity. I'm Anderson Cooper, and thank you for watching.